talk just a little bit about Lion's Gate, which is something that I feel like all the descriptions of what Lion's Gate is, that it's this time of great manifestation, that the portals are opening, that setting intention is like a super powerful time to do that. But I think this is the most appropriate portal for our project of the nonviolent action to end the age of war. I think that is such a powerful intention, and I think it's what Einstein's work has all been about, all these many years of layers. And so as you go about your intention setting in your personal lives, anyone who is listening and people here today, I'm asking you to put that at the forefront, to put it at the forefront of the intention, because I feel as if conflict revolution is about really learning self-love and self-respect. And when you learn self-love and then you project self-love out and project respect out, then we get a whole different set of manifestations. So in our work, we have this built in. I have self-love. I don't have to intend that I'm going to be more loving. I am self-love. I am made of compassion. I am that. So I'm going to take that truth, that I am truth, and I'm going to intend it into this global shift of inspiring people to first look within in our very special way of conflict revolution, or whatever way they want to resolve these conflicts within.
Well, I didn't participate in this in the conflict revolution, but I do resonate, and I think all the methods that I learned through the years always talking about that, you know, that the reality is reflection of our inner world, and all kind of methods how to practice with it. There is the fourth question of Byron Katie, there is a Ho'oponopono, and there is you know, even yoga that I practiced for 20 years, talking all the time on this duality and how to quiet the mind and read it through my own conflict inside. So I just wonder if and maybe it's not a time to ask it, but I'm curious about the revolution of the conflict in the conflict revolution. How you, because you know, always when you learn it, it makes sense, it's wonderful, and then you know, if you want to practice, it's wonderful on others, very clear the picture, but when it got to you as an individual or a country, like I discussed with you through the mails, it's almost impossible to do it. And I wonder what is, if any, you know, the key here to overcome this barrier when it's getting to yourself, you know, or the country you are, or the conflict you are involved emotionally.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think there's a number of things. One is in the construct of learning this knowledge in this process, there's a lot, there's ground rules, there's values, there's a commitment and an intention that you're going to do it. So a lot of it is upfront, understanding why it works, understanding how it works, making the commitment that you're actually going to do that. And then in conflict revolution, when we do that, we have a process of every day waking up and whatever prayer of gratitude you say, and then setting that intention to watch, to step into a witness of self and be committed to watching self throughout the day. And a lot of times, if it's standing in line at the supermarket or you're driving in the car, and you don't have to be thinking, you don't have to be doing anything. In those times, the experimental times, where then you step into the witness, and the three things we're looking for is what's going on in my emotional self, what's going on in my intuitive self, and what's going on in my intellectual self. And I think that by developing the repetitive witness, it becomes so, I find this to be true of me, that my witness now is so firmly ingrained in my perspective that I'm able to get into a conflict or a conflicted situation with somebody and be so witnessing. I like when my friend was saying these kind of little underhanded things to me, but to deflect the truth. And I was getting my regular frustrated, like, why don't you, I just want you to understand me. I just noticed that I was in this witness who was having those feelings. And then kind of I was strategically thinking, okay, all right. So how am I going to respond to this question that she's saying? I'd have more respect for you if you talked badly about the right, because she's on the left, right? And she went on for a while, and she was going on, and I was watching myself get triggered and then go, well, how am I going to effectively respond to this? And I kind of just let myself watch. And then how I responded actually did set up where, when she texted me to say, now I'm learning about the Ukraine, what I said and the way that I said it, I truly believe. So it's the repetitive pattern, it's knowing beforehand, and it's also making the commitment, because it's impossible. And then you get people who are going to all around you, who are going to suck you into the us versus the, talk bad about the other side and I'll have more respect for you. It's like, okay, let's, this is what we're up against. And I'm looking forward to more people like you who resonate with the general concept, but know how darn hard it is to do. And having more people understand and support. And I can probably speak for everybody in this group to say that this group has really saved a lot of us, because this is a place we can come and talk about it all and talk about everything. And it's not like we don't trigger each other, but because we have these ground rules and we're all committed to this worldview, it never gets out of hand. So I'm looking forward to having you see the whole picture too, because I know we just threw you into the middle of without any background in it.
Okay.
I think the revolution you're talking about, how I understand it, is really that the whole method of changing our approach to emotion, to a conflict in general, and how we change our thinking about it, that's the real revolution in it. And how we go on to our solutions, that's the revolution in it. So that's how I understand it. So it's to revolutionize the approach to conflicts in itself. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's why you called it conflict revolution and not conflict solution or something else. Yes?
Yeah, the revolutionary way to do it.
It's exactly it, because it's not only, okay, you have that conflict and we find that solution or that solution. So it's really about looking inside of ourselves and find the right approach there, and the keys there too, because it's the same method all the time. When you understand the method, you can use the same approach to every conflict. So it's not that you have to know this conflict or this conflict or this conflict. So that's what I like with this approach. So you use the approach, and then you have your different conflicts you use it on.
And the thing that makes it addictive is when the manifestation happens, and it's generally a baby step. So even though I understand, like in Jill's case, I know that your son is back and forth, but It was one of those small things after loosening up that energy that in came the pictures of the grandkids. Okay, well, there's still work to do because we didn't solve the world's problems yet. But when you get those manifestations, there's just this awe and aura. And I was having my own meditation this morning, and for the first time, feeling this incredible sense of wonder that our mission succeeded, seeing things more and more coming into justice and conflicts resolved and sudden de-escalation of arms things and the uncovering of all that's going on. And doesn't it feel like we're in this phase where everything is so being uncovered so that we can figure out that it's conflicted? People can at least admit that it's conflicted, and it's tough. It's tough to see systems falling and all this corruption underneath things you trusted and you thought you could trust. But bring it on. If we're going to build the new humanity, it's got to come down, and we have to birth that new humanity of oneness.
We uncover everything on the outside, so that's a shock to see everything uncovered. But at the same time, when we work with conflict revolution, we uncover everything on the inside too, and that has to go hand in hand, because everything that is happening outside is also happening inside if we want to see it or not. So maybe I'm not a child rapist or something, but something on the outside of the child rapist is a part of myself too. So otherwise it wouldn't be outside there. So I think we cannot exclude our individual self from what is happening on the outside. So we are always a part in what's happening there. And that's why it's so important to understand our insights, our emotions, our everything, and uncover that at the same time.
Yeah, a reflection of each other.
Exactly.
The outside is what's going on inside.
Yeah, and also of ourselves, like your conflicts with this politician who was in a way not a good person, and you were triggered there, and you see there it's part of your theme too, and part of your life too, and part of your triggers too. And I think that's the same with all of us. We get triggered of the outside world, but that's because we have agreed to come here and live that life and uncover everything that's inside and everything that's outside too. That's at least how I see it.
Yeah.
Heike, that is so profound. I actually have been doing that. Through this work, I've been uncovering about me, and mostly about my lies I've been telling myself, and my belief system, and I would beat myself up, and instead I'm giving myself better messages, or and then seeing everything differently. So yeah, I have been uncovering stuff about me, and I've been witnessing that about the world. Oh my gosh, this is being, I can't believe they're coming out and we're hearing this information. And so yeah, that's exactly been happening to me. And I think that's the power of this work, is now I know what to do with that. I know to breathe through the emotions, and I know that, really there's only one of us here. This is what impacted me right away, is that it's up to me to do with the inner work. And we've been taught, blame it on them, blame it on those, left or the right or the black or the white. And those names even being invented are making us feel like, oh, we're opposite than them. And so we're different. And, we need to all be this unified field. And so that's why I just love this work. And thank you, Heike, for explaining it like that. That was awesome.
And the thing that it revolutionizes too is the spiritual thinking that says we're supposed to only limit ourselves to a particular frequency and we can't go down into those lower frequencies. And certainly meditation, certainly yoga, certainly all those things that we do to do that. But none of that ever addresses all of this subatomic world that we've defined in conflict revolution and with the unified field theories. It doesn't really get to that. So I'm excited about the revolutionary aspects of it in those worlds as well.
Yeah, the name got you banned, but that's okay. It's a revolutionary process. It's just ingenious that it's called conflict revolution because it's the revolving and, you know, the compassion and the compass and all of it is just so brilliant. You could not have made this up, I know. So I'm just so appreciative for the channelings and whatnot. Thanks.
I was on this podcast last night and she was coming up with some weird jumping timeline stories. Weird stories about, and my friends have been reporting, you know, they go in to brush their teeth and they're in there for what they think is 5 minutes and they come out, it's been an hour. Just jumpy timeline things. And as she's asking these questions, because I was channeling on the show, and I'm thinking to myself, oh God, how do you explain this? Oh my God. And of course he did. Just brilliantly. I have to go back. I didn't tape it. She taped it, but I'm going to really want to listen to this one because it was just so really it's still scientifically aligned to the unified field. It's like I tell everybody, we can find anything on this map. We can find anything, including how you jump timelines. And just one of the answers was, I don't know if you remember, and I'm sure, Gilly, you don't know, but I fell down a long flight of stairs one time and I was very blessed just to break my wrist. And later in a reading, when I was saying I should have been dead, I really should have been dead. And they said, well, here's what happened. In non-physical form, we don't have time. So we got way, way down into the microcosm where there's when you're in the lens and you're that low, time moves really slow. So we could see you falling and we sort of, you know, like, okay, land here so I wouldn't hurt anything. And they did it all the way down to help me not have to be a paralyzed dead person. And I thought, oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And they said that we are going through such intense expansion that our human minds are having a little trouble keeping up. Those of us who are kind of kooky and are working on this all our lives and not afraid to think that we're jumping timelines, you have this, it's almost like dissociation. You know, when I was in my worst dissociation, I could get in the car and suddenly I was in Bayfield 4 hours later without any memory of what happened. And so he said you end up, your consciousness of your physical body ends up down awake in the source, working at that level to jump the timelines, not here. And your mind has this big blank space where its consciousness had been drawn down into the source in this very new way, because we never woken up in the source like this quite before. So there's a lot of things that go on. Anyway, I just thought what you said, I couldn't make this. I couldn't make this stuff up.
I have to share with you how I got to you. What was the trigger? Because of your story, I walked in my house with hot tea in a glass, and I walked and I didn't see something on the floor, and I just flew, on the floor. It was, without holding nothing, just the glass with hot tea. And, I found myself on the floor and I was sitting, and it was amazing. The glass didn't break. The tea a little bit was out, but not a drop on my skin. And I had no injury at all, nothing, not reds and nothing, like I never felt fall. And it was so strange. And I just was sitting and laughing for 10 minutes. It was so funny. I said, wow, what was it? And the message that I got immediately is that the timing that we are in allow us quantum jump and not to go, like the linear thinking that, okay, this is gravity. If I fell, I have to, that the glass will break and the tea will hurt me, or no, there is a possibility just to jump. And why I got this answer, because right now in Israel, the situation is catastrophe, really. It's everybody against everybody, and all the tribes are rising up. We thought that at least inside that we managed to talk with each other, but we are not. And it's really catastrophic. And it's really, most of the people are in fear that Israel won't survive this conflict inside. And there is a lot of conflict outside. And I'm all the time trying, I was going to the demonstrations, and all the time I felt that it's not the right, it is the right thing to do, but it's not. My energy, it's like I'm giving the energy to something that is not useful, because it's, whatever you resist, persist, and it's the same narrative. Doesn't matter who is right, but when I'm shouting, they are shouting, and if you just, without the music and in a black and white movie, it's look the same. Everybody thinks that their way is the right way. And people all the time talking, okay, we will devastate everything, we will, and then we will rise back again, like we did in the history. We did it, and each time we have been able to rise back. So we will do it the third time. And I think the experience was very, it was knowing that we have now possibility to do it differently. And another message was that we are not the chosen people, but we can now demonstrate a choice to do it differently without ruining ourselves again. And it was so powerful. And then the day afterwards, I just driving my car, and I called my friend to share with her we can do it differently. We can do it differently. And she said, Gilly, it's not the time now to talk about all kind of spiritual things. We have to fight. And I said, no, but it's a choice for, if I will choose, you will choose, your neighbor will choose, it will be critical mass, and we will do it. You must choose. She said, okay, I choose to go to demonstration, because otherwise we won't have a country. Okay. And, I closed the phone, and out of nothing, I start crying, but it wasn't my crying. It was like crying of generation. I felt that every cell in my body is crying. It wasn't me crying. I didn't feel, sad, or it was like, and then I saw, like in a tunnel, Jesus and Moses and all the people that they knew it's just love. That's all, love each other. And, and nobody really understand the depth of the message. And it was, I couldn't stop crying, and I felt that I'm crying for the humanity that we have. It's up to us. There is no God that will decide for us. Not Einstein, not Jesus, no God, nobody. It's us to decide and choose. And I was so frustrated. How can I explain it better? I know, I felt it. It's a knowing in my body. And then the day afterwards, I opened the mail and I saw Shachar interview with Barbara, and I just saw the word conflict revolution and the unified field of Einstein, which Einstein, for me, it's love from first sight. And I said, okay, I will write Barbara. Maybe she has something practical to say. So this is the...
Oh, wow. And that was the... that's right, the heart. Shachar is I channeled for him in Norway, I think in 2008, 9 or 10. And he went away and he contacted me later and he said, Barbara, I think I'm channeling Einstein. Is that okay? I said, of course it's okay. For God's sake, we need to, do this. And he's quite a fellow in and of himself. And we've spent, we haven't stayed in touch a lot. We're Facebook friends, but my algorithms don't often cross his algorithms. But when I did the July 9th, I thought I'm going to put everybody that I know on this email who I think, or this tag that I think would be able to get this word out. And he reached out really shortly after that. And when you showed up, I was just floored. It's like, here we go. We've been gearing up for this movement for 30 years. And now the time is here in this Lion's Gate, if we're going to come back around to the beginning. And I know my intention is set. And when you said, maybe we can bring you here, and I just was like, of course. This is what I've been, for the past year and a half, Einstein's been saying, set that intention and do that visioning for your manifestation. It's very advantageous and synchronistic and part of my manifestations of my clearing and my intention coming forward. So I'm so excited about your people.
I really hope that, no, I really believe in this, everybody, I'm saying all the time that change is something we want in the mind, but we hate. And the only chance to be in a change is that if someone force you to be on a change, and then you have to, it's always chaos, because otherwise it won't be new. If you know what you are going for, it's not new. So you have just, it's, I think it's exciting, this chaos, because it's meaning that there is a chance for something new. But we have the responsibility to create this new, that and to give it a leap of faith. It's
what have we got to lose?
Einstein and in unified field, and that people, in order to be in critical mass, in yoga there is the Dhyan yoga, that it's one stream that is telling us that there are people that have to understand first here and then here, and there is the Bhakti yoga. It's now just praying and singing, and it's first here and then here. So I think maybe we are really here. I think more here than here. So maybe the science of the unified field will open also the heart in order to choose this choice and to have critical mass of change for the good.
Yeah. And that's what I just love about it, is that's its whole purpose. I think they want to move science, of course, but it's because once you see the logic of it and you see the brilliance of it and the undeniable structure, that if I change this here, then this here is going to change. And then how to do it. Like, not just an esoteric idea we need to change within, but here's the exact step-by-step instructions. So once we get the willing, we don't have to foist it on anybody who doesn't want to do it. It's the people like you who are like, well, where is this? And get drawn to it and attract that energy. So exciting.
Thank you, Gilly, so much for sharing that. Oh my gosh, that's just so heartfelt. Israel's lucky to have you, because Einstein says world peace is one person at a time, and you've got it. You've got that. You've found, and yeah, it's hard to explain it to somebody who's in the midst of the war. And I know what that's like. I used to be too, and turning within and loving ourselves first, and it's so hard to do, and seems so unreasonable when there's so much going on out there. But this is where it starts, and it, and I have great hope for Israel.
Well, thank you. Actually, I'm so, I'm so private usually. I'm doing every day, I'm doing the work with myself, and I feel that it's, I'm not sharing with people because unless you really experience it, it's almost impossible to share it. So always I kept it to myself, not because I didn't want to share, because I did the work and I saw wonderful results, but okay, I mean the work also for the world, for Israel, for everything, and now I think it's timing. I don't know how I got here, because it's so not natural to me to open a group, to invite people that I don't know, to hear Barbara that I don't know. and I said, what is happening to you? You really want to do it? But yes, I feel it's the timing that it's, it's not me. I'm just I say, okay, let's see what happened.
Well, thank
So
God you did.
it's exciting times, I think.
Absolutely. And because we have God energy, and we're undoing all the limitations that our intellects have built up through the many lifetimes, there's nothing we can't do.
Sure, I'm sure that it's true. I just want to,
Yes, that's what we're doing. And I see, through you and through you talking, I see it's like a cell. It's like a cell of the willing, because we all know what happens when we see the unified field, when we do conflict revolution. We already know the miraculous changes that take place, and that it's like this, almost like a secret, in that we don't have to have big banners, we don't have to go recruiting, don't have to go up against anybody in culture. That it's all this work that then changes all of our jurisdictions, or our immediate universes. It changes, like Heike was saying, we don't just go to one little conflict and then we have to go to this conflict. You go to the root and everything is influenced magically, miraculously. You don't have to go into it. And so I guess that's why I get so excited about that. Israel was, you and Shahar were the first to reach out to say, let's try this. Let's try this in a war zone and see what's going on. See if we can affect a change. All right. We're there. Well, let's get into a channel, shall we?